Does it
on
now?
YouTube.
No, we're
Or
not.
we have a...
We were. Let me just see if this fixed it. Sketching comedy live. Did I spell captain right? C-A-P. Yeah, okay. We're live.
Yep.
Let the whole internet know.
What's up, internet?
That I can't spell captain. Okay. And then...
Captain.
Social alerts. Can we share it from here? Or do we have to share it from YouTube? Right? I gotta do this super, super quick and then we're gonna go. No. Go to... No. Sign out. Go to here. Hi, internets. This is how I am, and every time I try to do this. Let's see. Okay. So I fixed my computer this week, and I had to clear my cookies, and everything's gone. It's awesome. So I have to put in new, my passwords all again. Oh, I hate that.
Now you got to remember all your passwords.
No, I don't want to. Okay, so going to the Creator Studio.
That's why all my passwords are simply password.
Okay.
All right, try that. All right, try that, internet. You still got to figure out my username, which is also password.
Right. I also have to change.
My password is Imran's password.
Let's see. Live streaming. Brought to you by Blazing Caribou. There should be a little button here that says share. Okay, here we go. Sharing this on a page we manage. Which page do we manage? We don't want to... All these. Of course, it says the Film Roast Show. I hope it doesn't show that now. Post to Facebook.
I don't know, but Facebook's being an a-hole today.
Yep. All right, I'm at Phil Rudes, at Jack, and Nerdcast, at Carrie Sims. Okay, tweeting. All right, something should have went through. That should be good enough. That's just kind of how I roll. Okay, having said that, oh my God, why? What just happened? No. Hold on. No.
Yes.
No.
No,
It's wrong.
No, I can't. No.
Oh, no.
No. I
need more lemon pledge. Oh, God, what is the password? I have one. Okay. Jeez. Oh, jeez. I don't know it.
It's probably Carrie's wedding.
No, it's not. Oh,
Carrie,
God.
Carrie Bride.
No, it's not. It's not stupid like that. Oh, it's stupid like that. Well, that was good. All right.
As long as you know the brand of stupid it is.
What show are we on? Sketching, right? All right. Finding it.
I don't know. I'm just drawing. I draw on every show now, just to be safe.
I may be on this show one of these times. I'm just going to keep drawing.
What happened to my... Oh, that's awesome. Get back in. Please get back in. That changed everything. It's a good thing I learned how to edit on YouTube. That's all good. All right, so that should be there, so that's good. This is coming. That's nice and full. We are recording, I believe, which is good. Soundboard is back up. Oh my God, I got 1 minute. I got it. Yeah. Yeah. Editing, viewing. Put this a little bit smaller. Okay. All right, hi guys. All right, let's do. Poor Ish has to deal with this one this week. Let's just say penis, and we'll get going. Okay. So on the count of 3, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3. You say penis. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Penis.
Penis.
Do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Penis. Okay. You guys are a little bit behind, but that's okay. Here we go. Fuck it. Uh-oh. That's a problem. Let me try that again.
That's weird. Is that like a remix version?
No. That's what happens when you hit it double. It's like, yeah. All right, I'll try it again. All right, let me get this going. All right. On today's show, we discuss Captain America. You may recognize him as the patriotic super soldier that fights off evil armed with his indestructible shield. But did you know he also possesses the power to wield Thor's hammer? Our own sketch comedians Imran and Phil are back live on the drawing boards, so stick around. The show starts now. Whoa, welcome back to Sketching Comedy, the show that teaches, laughs, and draws comedy and comics while you listen and watch from the comfort of your very own home. I'm your host, Carrie Sims, along with two of the funniest and most creative guys I know, Phil and Imran. Guys, I've missed you.
Oh, we've missed you too.
It seems like it's been...
Carrie?
I'm going to tell you, this wedding stuff is like all over the map. Like here, you guys know me, so you know I'm pretty organized, and I've got my little lists, and I got my my little spreadsheets and everything like that. So I thought I'd have a handle on this, right? Well, we're about 5 weeks out, and all of a sudden, like, the shit hit the fan. I'm like, I got nothing done. I need this. I need that. And I'm like, the flowers are all wrong. We changed colors midstream. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but everything is just kind of, like, all over the place. And then I'm like, the other part of this was, I'm sitting here, like, saving money so that we could, do this. And part of me doesn't want to let that money go because it's a nice nest egg. So I'm like kind of waiting to the last minute. I'm like, ooh, I really don't want to spend money on stuff. So that's the other thing. So I'm kind of like, holding off and like trying to do things as cheap as I can. And I'm, last minute kind of, I was like, oh, I'll just do this originally. Like I'll buy this kind of food. Now I'm like, oh, could they share rolls? Like maybe, like, could I just take one dinner roll? Could they pass it? Could it be like that 7 days at Hanukkah where, the bread just kind of grow? I don't know. I think the lesson to be learned here, listener, is never get married.
Elope.
You
Go
could.
to Vegas. Have a weekend.
I know. I don't know what we were thinking, but it should be fun. I'm excited.
Your casino gambling losses would have cost you less than this is all going to end.
That's a good point.
Well, the best part of all of this, though, is the honeymoon. And I mean, that is what I'm looking forward to. So we're calling this the good, bad wedding kind of a thing, because it's like, it's good because we're getting married, but it's bad because we got to go through all this crap to get to the honeymoon. So we are actually taking a nice retreat. And I told you, Phil, earlier that we were going camping for the first half. And then the second half, we're going to be going just to like a nice hotel room, pretty ritzy in Nashville, which I'm really, really looking forward to. It's like a honky-tonk kind of blues, rhythm and blues type of hotel. It looks really cool.
Oh, fun.
But we are going to Raccoon Mountain. So I'm hashtagging this right now. It's the hashtag Raccoon Honeymoon. So if anybody wants to see like pictures and stuff later, you just go to hashtag Raccoon Honeymoon. You'll catch it on.
I'm not sure I do.
It's a mountain run by raccoons. Sounds kind of creepy.
They're going to stay in garbage cans.
The deluxe suite is like 2 garbage cans.
Right? I don't even know. Oh, guys. Well, I've missed you both. What have you been up to? Well, I did want to say this. You guys did a great job last week. They both did the Underdogs episode, and that came out really, really good. And I was thinking, like, maybe that could be a reoccurring bit, like every few weeks or something. So I really like that there's some comics out there that, I haven't read, and I have no idea where to even go. So you're really helping out the listener and myself to kind of get into some new stuff. So very, very cool, guys. Really appreciate that. We put up a drawing challenge every week, so you, the listener, can check out our Twitter right after the show for new sketch ideas. And you could have your art featured right here, right on this podcast. Trust me, people get to see it because this is also live on Twitch and YouTube, so people will be able to see it. If you're curious and prefer watching the live show, you can see the art created right before your eyes every Wednesday on YouTube and Twitch. So, at the top of the hour, we kind of mentioned Captain America, and he is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics, which we will talk about later. Created by cartoonists Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, the character first appeared in Captain America Comics #1, cover dated March 1941, from Timely Comics, a predecessor of Marvel Comics. But first, let's go ahead and check out the news. So before I even get into the breakdown of Captain America and the new suit for the Avengers Infinity War, I just want to ask you guys, so what's up with Netflix and Disney? Imran?
Yeah, it's look, Netflix has become from a place where they just bought other people's stuff to a major hitter in original internet content. They bought Mark Millar's Miller World. Mark Millar, responsible for Kingsman, Kick-Ass, a bunch of things. So, and Disney just the year before had made a deal that all of their stuff after the theaters was going to go movie theaters, DVD, Netflix, not on cable. So right now you can watch Doctor Strange, you can watch Rogue One through 2018, at which point Disney's going to pull everything because they now want their own streaming service. Everyone needs to be in the streaming service business. I don't know if this is good or bad. I feel like we're headed to a future where we got to buy a bunch of different streaming packages to watch what you watch what you want. It's pretty crazy, but the Netflix Marvel shows on Netflix will stay there. So that's good. But listen, watch Moana, watch Doctor Strange. You got a year. But all the upcoming Marvel movies will be on there throughout the next year. And then they're going to pull it. And then you have to pay for another thing. And already, if you want to watch the new Star Trek show, you got to pay for another thing. If you want to watch the new Young Justice cartoon, you got to pay for another thing. So the streaming wars are heating up. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, it's kind of like how cable originally started. It was very a la carte. Yes. Like you would buy HBO, you would buy Showtime, and it just kind of stayed that way. But then you got these basic channels that you could just have, like A&E and all these kinds. What's to stop everybody from streaming and for just going right straight to streaming and say, forget it, we're not going to have these basic cable channels, you're going to have to pay for it. And I think what's going to happen is cable's just going to be ridiculously expensive. You're going to get stuck with 2 or 3 channels that you can afford, and that's it. And I mean, it really, I don't know, kind of shrinks what you can view on TV these days.
I don't think we're going to have cable TV much longer in the future. It's going to be a thing of the past. Now, Comcast, the smartest thing they did was integrating Netflix right on the box. So I could pick up my Comcast control and literally talk to it and say Netflix. And it'll pull it up. Too. So smart on their part because they're seeing this threat. But I think cable TV is going to be done very soon. There won't be any cable aside from live sports. Because what else do you really need live TV for?
Nothing. I haven't had cable for years, and I haven't missed it a bit.
Right.
As far as a la carte goes, isn't this what we've been asking cable companies for years, though?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been sitting here going, I don't speak Spanish. I don't need 4 Spanish language channel. I mean, this is why I dumped cables, because I had 80 channels, and I watched 6 of them.
Right.
Yep.
I don't mind subscribing to streaming services. I think Disney Marvel is one of the few entertainment companies that has enough catalog to justify their own streaming service.
Sure.
They do now, yeah.
I won't subscribe to it because all the Disney Marvel stuff that I enjoy, I buy it anyway. I just buy it outright from iTunes or buy the Blu-ray or whatever. But I subscribe right now to Netflix, Hulu, and HBO. And it does run me about what a cable bill does, but it also gives me a way bigger catalog that I'm interested in than a cable bill does. So I don't mind subscribing to a few services. And,
well, even with like the news and things like that now, I mean, you can go like live to like CNN or CBS or those places, and you can get live news. So, and there's really no subscription for that at this point. But I suspect it's coming. I mean, CNN run by Turner Broadcasting, eventually he's going to be like, oh, I'm missing out on millions. And I mean, it's, CBS already has like an access pass for certain things. So what they've been doing is they're kind of jerks. They'll give you like a season of of a show, and they'll give you like episodes 5, 7, and 8. And you'll miss like 1 through 4 and 6. And you're like, whoa. Yeah. And so the reason behind that is obviously like, oh, if you want all of it, just subscribe to our service. And I'm like, I'm not really that interested, but thanks. I don't need to watch Housewives, battle it out on whatever. Jeez. So, but yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of shows like I don't even watch. I'm looking for the all-inclusive Law and Order channel. So when that happens, I'll just go ahead and subscribe to that.
We still need like a Simpsons channel that's just constantly playing Simpsons episodes.
That would be great. Yeah.
Right. Or Rick and Morty. I don't know. I don't know this week. That was the best Rick and Morty ever.
I mean, have you looked at your cable bill recently? I just realized I'm paying like a sports licensing fee, and I hate sports. I never watch. Like, why am I paying
for stuff you will never watch? Is how cable works.
It's annoying.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Well, hell, we ain't even going to do this. We'll just this is just a little talking about the Infinity War. They gave us the first look at Captain America's new suit. Post-Civil War, it's difficult to tell if the new suit is a version of the Nomad costume or the Captain. To be clear, it's been some time since the poster for Avengers Infinity War was released. It was unveiled by Marvel at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, driving fans crazy the moment it dropped. The poster had fans going wild for many reasons, but the most pertinent being the character reveals. Yeah, and I just want to say this too, because this is just, I haven't talked to you guys in a while, but like, how cool is it that illustrated posters are coming back? Like, in movies.
This concept art guy who does these for Marvel is I follow him on Twitter. He's amazing. There is a trend for the non photoshopped heads. Baby Driver has some really cool posters. Star Wars always brings good illustrated posters, and the triptych poster they put out at San Diego for Infinity War was really cool. You saw Steve Rogers with a beard. And there are probably rumors they're going to do the thing they do in the comics where he quits being Captain America, and he's this character called Nomad, who has kind of a silly costume in the book. So I don't know if they're going to go that way. But I like the bearded Steve Rogers. These characters, like their contracts are coming to an end. Someone's going to have to die in this movie. I don't know who.
It's the new Game of Thrones Marvel version. There you go.
All of a sudden, Sean Bean is introduced into the Marvel universe because they need to kill somebody off. All
right, well, let's get a little bit into Captain America, shall we? Let's get a little bit of the backstory now. You guys can do all the fill-in, and I know, Imran, you've probably got a ton of info on this, but Steve Rogers was born into the Lower East Side of Manhattan, New York City in 1925 to poor Irish immigrants, Sarah and Joseph Rogers. Joseph died when Steve was a child, and Sarah died of pneumonia when Steve was a teen. So by early 1940, before America's entry into World War II, Rogers is a tall, scrawny fine arts student, specializing in illustration and a comic book writer and artist. Distributed by the rise of the Third Reich, Rogers attempts to enlist, but is rejected due to his frail body. His resolution attracts the notice of U.S. Army General Chester Phillips and Project Rebirth. So basically, this is the point where they give him the juice, right? They go in and they're like, let's give you some drugs, of the serum.
Man, the drugs.
Yep.
Right. Well, what's interesting, they call it a special serum, and it's important because one of the things that I found out, and we'll talk about it later, he just doesn't understand drugs. And there was that whole comic book code authority back then where they didn't want to talk about drugs and have that in comic books. So they had to make it like more of like a serum, like a drink,
well, this would have the original Cap was out before the Comics Code Authority.
Yeah,
it was before the Wortham scare, the Seduction of the Innocent book, and all that other junk, but it was essentially like steroids. They sort of and they it was wrapped up in the idea of it being science. Like it was a special formula. You know, it was science. It wasn't drugs. It was kind of weird how they did that.
And wonder if like any kids thought that they could just like stick themselves with something and like just become
of
Captain
course.
America.
You don't think I tried to dangle a spider in front of a light bulb and get it to bite me several times to no effect? You know how disappointed I was that I couldn't turn myself into Spider-Man?
Oh God. I remember growing up and my parents were like, eat your spinach like Popeye. And I really thought that would work. And I'd have like, you know, these really big muscles and I'd be able to move stuff. But no, I just, you know, I got sick. So like, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. You guys were assholes.
It was all conspiracy things.
Yeah, right. So, okay. So the creation was basically Joe Simon created him. And he conceived the idea for Captain America in 1940 and made the sketch of a character costume. And he wrote the name Super American at the bottom of the page. And he thought basically at that point there were too many supers. So he needed something different at this point. And he kind of played around with some more names and he came up with Captain America. And he said it had a good sound to it. And I kind of like that because there was like a lot of super this, Superman, Superboy, those types of things around.
I mean, this was like early World War II, wartime era. There was never a captain. So just the powerful nature. And then the first issue. What's on the cover of the first issue of Captain America? And the numbers that it sold is crazy for 1941.
Right. And actually, you're bringing that up right now for 1941. This is where the Jack Kirby does a cover art for this. And he has Captain America throwing a punch at Hitler, which is
awesome.
It is awesome. And what's really great is these are very iconic to someone even like me who didn't read comics and now have the bug bit on me. But I've seen this before, and I always thought that was kind of interesting that they did this. And there was actually, I think back one of the walks on Washington this year, like somebody hit a Nazi, and they referenced, they were being Captain American.
Guy, what's his name?
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Was it LaBeouf? Or was it him? Did he do it? Shia LaBeouf?
No, it wasn't. No.
Oh, it wasn't. No, it wasn't that crazy.
No.
But, dude, just think of like the controversy and the times, because America wasn't even in the war at this time. And largely, like a lot of people forget this, before all wars, Americans were very isolationist. Like many times we did not want to enter into these skirmishes. This was not our business. And, why should we go over there? And it was always like World War I. We entered the very last day, the last week for cleanup. But they always, that's why there's always had to be some kind of a tragic event that sway public opinion.
Unfortunately, Pearl Harbor pulled us in and we were forced to kind of, retaliate, and it pulled us into the war. And they did not want to do that. And, we know how that ended up. So
and for this book to sell 1 million copies in 41, you can't sell 1 million copies today of a comic book.
No,
that's crazy numbers.
And and they were saying that this specific thing had sold 1 million copies, and it just kept going like that for quite some time. It wasn't like that this was just one thing. Like the next one came out and it sold millions of copies. So this was a huge thing back in the day, and I find it really interesting. I think people were looking for a hero, and inadvertently Simon created this hero that people really needed to kind of look up to. And it was kind of like the everyday guy, it's kind of like the teenager that goes off to war and he comes home and he's stronger and he's better and he's learned a lot of things and necessarily might have seen a lot of things that he shouldn't have, but he's a changed man kind of a thing. And I think it was almost propaganda a little bit on accident.
It was total propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, on accident though. I don't think he meant it to be that way. I think he was patriotic in the fact of making him, but it probably kind of bolstered a lot of these people to go like, yeah, let's go to war. Let's do it. We can do it. We're freaking Americans.
We have Captain America on our side. We got nothing to worry about. He'll save us.
God.
You know what? And I got to be honest, so he did that in the 40s. Then the Wortham thing hits and superhero comics kind of go away for a while. And they bring him back into the
Silver.
not the golden
Silver
Silver
Age.
and bronze.
the Silver Age, yeah. With the whole story where they unfroze him and he's a fish out of water, and the Avengers era starts now. I want to ask you guys, Phil, especially you. Were you a fan of Captain America? Because honestly, myself, I knew the history of this. I knew who he was, but a lot like Superman, I felt the character was a little Boy Scouty. He wasn't really that interesting to me. It wasn't that compelling because you knew, and Chris Evans does this great in the movies, and it kind of made me appreciate Captain America more. You know his moral compass. You know exactly what he's going to do. You know he's going to do the right thing. Same thing with Superman, but that gets a little dull. Like a little, I don't want to know sometimes what the good guy's going to do.
Yeah, no, it's a little too squeaky clean. And for me, he always felt like a hero, not of my time. He felt like he was ahead of anything I was reading.
Yeah.
At the time, him and the Fantastic Four, I always felt like they never came out of the 60s very well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I kind of still feel like they still don't. They've made Captain America work in the movies. I think that's a big problem with the FF is
they cannot figure out how to do it.
Cemented in the 60s. So no, I was not a Captain America fan, and I didn't even like the first Captain America movie. It wasn't till Winter Soldier that I was like, oh, okay, they're doing something cool with him for the first time in my life, really. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid and there was a made-for-TV Captain America movie.
Oh God, it's really bad. Yes. He has his motorcycle and his bike.
And the helmet he wore with the wings painted on the side and the ears. They had like rubber ears on the outside of the costume.
Not a good movie.
It was just all terrible. But it was like a perfect Saturday afternoon movie. But you were under no delusion that it was good or anything like that.
Yeah. Right.
And that was Captain America to me. Like that just sort of summed up what I thought about the character. So
you really got to credit you
get a resurgence. In the
you got to credit the MCU and Chris Evans, because even that first movie is very good movie. The special effects where he have his head on this skinny body, it's still like it's unbelievable. You watch
that part. Like, no, it looks amazing.
How are they doing this? Yeah, it's seamless. But you really like he and I started reading Captain America comics because of the movie again, because I was like, oh, they're kind of making him interesting and relevant. And and now we'll get to what they did in the comics, because it's another thing of like, we don't know how to keep this character relevant. Let's just retcon his whole past.
Right. Well, so this is also the Silver and Bronze Age is basically where Stan Lee came in, right?
Yes.
This is where
timely turned into Marvel, and you know the story of Stan Lee's wife going, "Hey, make one more thing before you quit superhero comic books," and that was Fantastic Four.
Right.
And then it hit, and then you have current day Marvel comics.
And this is Stan Lee's big breakout too, right? Is Captain America.
Fantastic Four was more
started with Fantastic Four. This is all Simon and Kirby,
right?
But Stan Lee is the one who sort of brought him back, though, because Simon wasn't still doing comic books at that point, was he? When they thought him out?
No, probably not. That's right, because that was like 20 years earlier.
Yeah, that was when Kirby and Stan started doing the Avengers. Is when they brought him back.
Yep.
All right, so then we move along into what is considered the modern age, and so basically at this point it's like this is after this. So I always understood Captain America as that whole thing too, like he was unfrozen and you just kind of like brought back and everything like that. So that storyline hasn't really changed, right? From
some of the big recent notable things is there was a series like Civil War. We've seen Captain America Civil War.
Yes.
The comic book version that was based on Captain America gets shot and killed on the steps of a government building, but he's not really dead. Through that time, he's jumping. He's in another dimension. He's jumping through time. There's a great series with John Romita Jr. where he's in Dimension Z with Arnim Zola. He has a son that he's raised. His hair gets long, but he's there for like 11 years. But when he comes back, like no time has passed. So he's all screwed up. And then recently, Nick Spencer has gone ahead and revealed that Cap was his whole life was secretly a Hydra agent. And has been a Hydra agent this whole time.
Really?
It's got a lot of people upset, but I mean, what are you going to do with this character after 75 years to keep it fresh?
Well, they also said like after he came back from all of that, that Bucky Rogers basically had continued as Captain America. So
yes, Bucky becomes Captain, kind of like how Dick Grayson was Batman when Batman's back was broken, when he was missing and traveling through time.
I found Bucky way more interesting, I think, than Captain. Especially like in Winter Soldier, I was kind of rooting for Bucky. So it was like, it's funny because people that I've talked to want a Bucky movie as opposed to a Captain America movie. They're like, just let him have his own shit. So
just go, like, you know, he's interesting. He's conflicted. You don't know. He's brainwashed.
He's been brainwashed. He's been through some shit. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, then Marvel, it would be an interesting movie, I think.
Marvel announced that Rogers will become Captain America once again in the comic series Captain America, Steve Rogers. This new series follows the events of the Avengers standoff, in which Captain America is restored to his youthful state following an encounter with the sentient cosmic cube Kobik, and his past is drastically rewritten under the instructions of the Red Skull. Afterward, Captain America plots to set himself and Hydra in a position where they can conquer America in Marvel's upcoming Secret Empire. So that's what you were talking about, basically.
Yeah, it's usual comic book stuff. I forgot there was a point where the serum wore off and he got old and he was like dying. At which point, and then like Falcon is Captain America and and Steve is Captain America, and it's all just, you know, comic books. It's what they do.
Well, yeah, they got to kind of go everywhere. So pretty interesting stuff. So let's get into some facts, shall we? Okay, guys, I'm going to see if you guys knew any of these. I'm sure you do, but hey, might as well throw them out there. So in 1966, did you know that Joe Simon sued the owners of Marvel Comics, asserting that he, not Marvel, felt he was legally entitled to renew the copyright upon the expiration of the original 28-year term. The two parties settled out of court, with Simon agreeing to a statement that the character had been created under terms of the employment by the publisher, and therefore it was a work for hire owned by them. Phil, you
go back to work for hire again.
He got work for hire. Nice try, Simon. Try again. But look, these are the people you learn from now when doing contracts like this.
The guys who got screwed over are the reason we have creators' rights today.
Right. Yep. Well, and I think that's important. I mean, the thing is there have been things like I've worked for an employer before, and the things that I created under that employer were given to them, all the intellectual property. And I'm not talking about art, but other things. It was intellectual. They owned it. That's how it was. I walked away going, shit, that would be really great if I owned that, you know. But they didn't hire me as a contractor. They hired me as an employee. So I had to understand that, which I did, and I agreed to it. And that's, I think, what's very important about today. As an artist, you need to make the determination if you are going into this type of business, if you are going to stand alone, or if you're going to work with a company, or if you're going to work with a freelancing company. So there's a bunch of different ways to do that. But that's
however you go in, the terms of who owns what has to be settled before you sign that paper and do work for them.
Right. Like my situation, we kind of have like an in-house creative department. So, you know, I do illustrations, I do designs. I don't know nothing of it. I can't put my name on it. It's used to make money. Now, you know, in that situation, I can use it to put on my portfolio, to get other employment, but that's really about it. I have no legal, you know, all the work that I've done for like the past 13 years at this place, they own all of it.
And that's your choice, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I mean, a lot of people choose
because
to
they
do
give me life insurance and a 401k, so it's a good trade. I'll take
it.
Trust me, as someone who owns a lot of intellectual property and has made $0 on it, you're making more money with somebody else's property than I am. So there's nothing wrong with that at all.
All right, well, fact number 2, did you know he can use Thor's hammer? I did not know this about Thor's hammer.
Is this up for debate? Has this been officially?
It
depends on who has written him and in what universe he's in.
Well, casual Marvel fans who have only watched the Avengers and related movies could be forgiven for assuming that it takes just Chris Hemsworth, I always say Helmsworth. Hemsworth's arms to lift the mighty hammer. Mjolnir. I don't know. I'm just going to do his hammer. However, as any Thor nerd is happy to point out, picking up the hammer does not require physical strength. The not so fine print on the hammer does read, "Whosoever holds this hammer if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. Hence, a number of Marvel characters, along with Superman and Wonder Woman, have held the hammer. So yes, it is true, indeed.
It's all about your character and your, you know, how good you are. I love that moment in the Avengers movie where they're sitting around. Like Joss Whedon does these great moments where everyone's hanging out. They're trying to pick up the hammer, and if you watch closely, Chris Evans budges the hammer a little bit, and you see Thor get worried for a second. Like it's such a quick moment, but it's so great. Like that's what they do great in those movies.
That is the best part of Avengers 2.
Yes.
That moment right there where he's straining, and then he lets it go, and you hear it just tap the table like it came up just a little bit. It's perfect. Yeah.
And then Thor's like, no, what? No, it didn't move. What are you talking about?
Well, here's another fact. Did you know he once fought Wolverine as a werewolf? The idea of heroes turning into werewolves in a Marvel comic is not as far-fetched as you might think, given that
I have that comic here somewhere. It's in one of the boxes in the corner of the room. Yeah.
It contains all sorts of monsters. It's not surprising that such transformations don't happen more often. At any rate, while fighting Nightshade, the self-styled queen of the werewolves, Captain America is injected with a new serum, and it turns him into a werewolf. So yes, he fights Wolverine as a werewolf. Why not? Fact number 4, Captain America is actually older than Marvel, which we know because Timely came first. Captain America has become a very public face for Marvel Comics, billed as the first Avenger, and known as the moral center of the Marvel's universe. The only problem with that is that Marvel didn't create him. He was actually created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, like we said, the latter of whom later helped Stan Lee create heroes such as the Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk, Thor, and the X-Men. So, the last little fact that we have here is Captain America has no idea what drugs are. And this is something I said at the top of the hour. For characters as old as Captain America, it's a challenge to come up with a foe that the Cap has not fought before. Since Captain is such a powerful symbol of America itself, writer Mark Grunwald came up with a foe new to Captain but very familiar to everyone else. And that is drugs.
Just say no, Cap.
I know, just say no. It's all good. Okay.
Hopped up on goofballs. What's wrong with Cap?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, like, but it kind of makes sense, but it doesn't, because, like, in the 40s, like, even if he was, like, dropped off iceberg, whatever, and then he, like, drugs have been around since forever. So
I feel like he grew up in New York City. He would have some acquaintance with drugs.
He would have seen some smack. Yeah. Bigger question, though. Think about Cap in the movies. Is he still a virgin? Think about it.
Good question.
Wasn't that sex for like 90 years? These are the things that keep me up at night, people.
Oh, real quick, guys.
Hey, don't forget your shield cap.
And I'm not talking about the round one.
Oh, hell, we'll just do an ad. Let's just do that and shut you guys up. I could just press whatever buttons I want because I'm
all the
controls. Oh, you guys should check out 8-Bit. It's a great little show. And, you know, I'm going to plug it because my kid's on it, so it's all good.
Reagan is a great addition to that show, to have a youngster on a retro video game show. I think that's a really great idea. I'm glad
it was a lot of fun. And she's so funny getting into it. She's like, I can see where you'd like these games. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's a really good show. Give it a chance. Go over to blazingcariboustudios.com and download your latest episode today. So, guys, you guys have been drawing all hour, and you have some sketches. I haven't even seen them, and that's the great part about this, is you have to explain them to me as much as you explain them to the listener. So, Imran, what is your finished product there?
Okay, so I drew, instead of drawing Captain America, who I find boring, I could draw somebody interesting who is Captain America's arch nemesis, the Red Skull.
Nice.
Who looks a lot like what his name sounds like. If you've seen the movie, he's a giant talking red head skull. And my drawing here has him wearing kind of a leather jacket. And he always has one of those old-timey long filter cigarettes because he's from the 40s and he's German and they love their cigarettes. So he's always smoking. So, I mean, the Red Skull is a great villain. You know, unfortunately, he was goofily portrayed up until that first movie because it's hard to get the makeup right and make it look good.
Does he have a voice like Skeletor at all?
I think it's like German Skeletor.
Is it?
with a German accent.
Oh, good.
That is the best explanation of the Red Skull I've ever heard in my life.
Think of German Skeletor with a red face, and you're pretty much there.
Man, it's Captain America. Man.
Oh, geez, that's awesome. Really good. Now, Phil, what have you got for us?
I did a variation on Captain America. I drew Corporal America. He is a non-caring, non-commissioned officer in the United States. He's not really into it. A little paunchy, slouching, got a beer gut, he's smoking.
That's awesome.
He's just biding his time till his contract's up and he can put that goofy uniform in his Foot Locker and move on with his life.
I imagine he's like on the reserves, like, but he keeps the costume on while he's like mowing the lawn.
He's a superhero 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year.
He's like, I really hope they don't call me, but I'm just gonna put this on in case.
My unit of Avengers got called up. We gotta go.
Oh man.
I was really
Give me another beer for the road.
I was really hoping for some raccoon honeymoon pictures, but maybe next show we could do that.
We'll get there.
It's all good. Well, thank you guys for listening and watching Sketching Comedy. You can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel at Blazing Caribou and listen to us every Wednesday at 8, 7 Central. Thanks to our producer, Ish Balderas Wong. Does he ever even listen to Ish? Is it okay that I keep doing this all the time? Because I'm just going to keep making fun of his name until he like cuts it out or beeps the whole show or something every time I talk, whatever. He puts up with us. Ish, we love you. Thank you so much. And thanks to you, the listener, because without you, none of this could be possible. So thank you. You guys are our comic book heroes. We look forward to you tuning in next week for more animations, illustrators, and stories about the animators you love. And with that, our show comes to a draw. I've been your host, Carrie Sims, along with Imran Javed and Phil Rude. Guys, we'll sketch you next week here on Sketching Comedy.
Yahoo!
I think I had something else to go there. I don't know. I'll just play this. All right. All right, guys. And we're out. I'm going to hit the button here. Stop.
Press stop here.
Wait.
Oh, we need that Idiot Mobile soundbite more often.
Yeah.
Right? I got to say, I'm always like amazed at what I can pull out of my ass during the show every time I do this show. I'm like,
you guys do good. I mean, it works out.
You have a wealth of knowledge.
It's just because I got notes and you guys just kind of go with it.
No, I'm talking about the drawing. Like,
what right.
Fuck,
I get to see it now.
Pull out a fucking drawing out of my ass, like literally started this like 10 minutes before we connected, and it's just crazy.
I love it. Yeah, but it works. It totally works.
I love it.
All right, well, we're going to stop. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. Check out our Twitter at Sketching Comedy. You can check us out on Blazing Caribou Studios. We're everywhere right now, so thanks so much. And you can also check us out on 2 Pods in a Day. We were on there doing the campaign this month, so give all of those podcasts a listen. It's pretty awesome. Josh from,
very cool.
Is it American Story? Is that where he's from? American?
Oh, Our Americana.
Our Americana with Josh Hallmark. That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely give that a check out. So appreciate it. All right.